store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So as we wrapped talking last week's episode of The Mandalorian and began looking forward to this week, little did we know we were going to be getting the largest quantity of Star Wars announcements in the Disney era. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing really good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, this is big.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of Star Wars that we have to look forward to here.
Yeah, and we actually have to go ahead and put our disclaimer right out in front this week about spoilers for The Mandalorian, because there may be slight little spoilers for this week wrapped in.
Okay.
So before we get to this week's episode, we may spoil tiny little details.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing major.
I could see how that could happen. Sure.
There's going to be tiny little details that haven't been discussed prior that are going to weave into these announcements. So,
yeah. So I was going to say, as far as the announcements go, I mean, we should probably just get right into this, huh? Because it was a lot of stuff. So, and we're going to try and burn through it here as fast as we can, but we're going to try and
I think the number is 10.
Yeah, something
10
like that.
Star Wars project.
Yes. So some will take a little longer than others, but you know, we'll just start running through this. So Kathleen Kennedy, she was the one standing in for Lucasfilm in the Disney Investor Day, and basically we're going to let her take the announcements and then we'll discuss. How's that?
Sounds good.
Today I'm excited to share with you that John and Dave are concurrently developing 2 new spin-off series exclusively for Disney+. One, The Rangers of the New Republic, and the other featuring fan favorite Ahsoka Tano. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, these interconnected shows, along with future stories, will excite new audiences, embrace our most passionate fans, and will culminate in a climactic story event. The next chapter will debut on Disney Plus Christmas of 2021.
So
Okay.
I left that last little part in there simply because I think she was talking about the next chapter of The Mandalorian. So, but
Yeah, we can assume.
yeah, because that's the show that is coming out in what they're calling chapters. And
I like how she said the next chapter, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Sticking with the naming convention, right?
it's got to be the.
Yes. So, sounds to me like there's a fork in the road here happening. Like John and Dave might be kind of veering off, not from each other, but you know, kind of helming their own thing, which will cross into each other apparently. So, what do you make of these? I mean, Ahsoka's kind of obvious, you know. That's, you know, I think Dave's been driving at that the whole time.
Yeah, and Ahsoka's very interesting because we've already had a little tease about what Ahsoka's after.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Ahsoka could lead us to Thrawn.
Sure.
And that is a character that has been sought after in live action. Well, since what?
Since the 90s?
90s?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's very intriguing.
Sure.
One, Ahsoka is a fan favorite character, much adored, and then there's also the prospect of Thrawn. And I'm listening to Thrawn Ascendancy right now.
Right.
Finally getting around to it. I know. So it's right at the forefront of my thought.
Gotcha.
I'm just like, oh, please, Thrawn. I hate to say that because it's like, oh, we're going to get an Ahsoka series. Yes. But there might be Thrawn. Yes.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean, anyone who's ever read any of the Thrawn books understands exactly why we're so excited about hearing about an Ahsoka series and how it might bring us Thrawn. What do you make of this other one, the Rangers of the New Republic? It seems kind of like a general. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like a Band of Brothers sounding type thing,
Well, I think this will be Cara Dune.
Yeah.
And probably, what's his name? The X-Wing pilot that was along with Filoni.
Carson?
Yeah.
Right? She called him Blue.
Yes.
At the end of the one episode. So, okay.
But this is where one of those spoilers kind of rolls in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think that team is starting to assemble in this season. I think we saw the first addition to that this week.
Really?
I think Mayfield will be back.
Oh.
To join them.
Okay. Well, at least Cara knows where to find Mayfield. So, I could see that as a possibility. I think, okay, so yeah, we get into that part later on, but, okay, I got you. That kind of makes sense. What, I don't want to say, I guess it's just unanswered at this point is, right now, Cara Dune is a marshal.
Right.
So she would basically have to, quote unquote, re-enlist into the New Republic, I would imagine, to become a ranger of. So, she's kind of like police officer, cop type position now, but I guess she would become more of a special ops type person if this does in fact have her in the series.
Yeah, I see this more as I see it less Army Ranger.
Okay.
A little more Texas
Ranger. Gotcha. Oh, where's Chuck Norris? Okay. So then, okay, well, I say where's Chuck Norris, but I mean, so do you think this could actually involve maybe Cobb Vanth even?
It could. I absolutely part of the crew.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I think we've been seeing the beginnings of this team in this season.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. And these, so we're going to have all three shows running concurrently in the timeline. And how'd she put it? Culminating in a climactic story event. Sounds to me like there's going to be a big battle with Thrawn. What do you think?
Yep. I mean, I could even see Boba Fett being involved with the Rangers.
That'd be interesting. He's already come out and said, he
has no allegiance.
He has no allegiance. Yeah, he's all about himself.
But I'm going to keep bringing out the old callbacks here. I mean, I could see this almost being like a almost Young Guns kind of deal too, where they're deputized, but they're like doing their own thing.
Yeah. They're doing a job for the New Republic, but they're going to do it by whatever means they feel are necessary. Yeah. I like that. That could be good.
It's because I mean, Kara's already doing that.
Yeah.
She's already bending the rules. She's been a marshal for 10 minutes.
She's bending them into pretzels. We've seen that, yes.
So yeah, that's where I see this series heading. This is I think a reaction to the number of characters that are being latched onto. And doing Rangers of the New Republic, these are people that are, being deputized, but not joining up.
Right. I kind of like that. I like that thought. And it makes sense with what we've seen so far this season. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and this is going to allow them to bring the fan favorites in. So, Fennec Shand.
Right. She's the gun.
Doesn't want to see more of her.
Right.
Because we were excited last week. This week, we'll get to that.
Right. Exactly. Then you got Boba Fett, the wheelman, right? Since he's the only one with wheels now.
Yeah, I didn't even really consider it that way, but yes,
right.
Wheelman.
Yeah, Cara Dune is like the leader, and you could have Cobb Vanth, and he's like the smooth talking, the guy to get you in the door kind of thing.
Yeah, he's the one you send in first, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Billy, go in and see if he's in there.
Exactly.
Howdy.
I love it. I like that. I like that a lot. That's cool. All right. So we're moving on. Okay. We got a lot to cover. So, here's her next announcement.
One of the most exciting and ambitious new series we have coming to Disney Plus in 2022 is Andor, a tense, nail-biting spy thriller in the Star Wars universe created by Tony Gilroy. Tony's incredible success with the Bourne Identity films distinguishes him as one of today's best creators of the modern spy genre. We couldn't be more thrilled to have him at the helm of this new series for Star Wars. Diego Luna will be back in the role of Rebel spy Cassian Andor from Rogue One, and he will be joined by a fantastic new cast that includes Stellan Skarsgård, Adria Arjona, Fiona Shaw, Denise Goff, Kyle Soller, and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. We just began production in London 2 weeks ago.
So this harkens back to a story we talked about last week with Diego Luna. So, guess they are shooting, and we will see that in 2022. So,
too far away.
Too far away. But one name that we didn't hear was Alan Tudyk. But I mean, he's got to be in it, right? I mean, he's got to be in it.
I think he was already said to be in it.
That's what I thought.
Before. So, I think the opportune word right there is fantastic new cast.
Okay.
So this is the new cast. They're not talking about the old cast.
Right. Well, one name there that's kind of new, kind of old is Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma.
I was on, Doug.
Huh?
So I was hoping you weren't going to go there. I was on a roll.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead and say it.
But anyway, yeah, she's obviously she's played Mon Mothma before here for us, and has done an excellent job. So I don't know. I'm kind of digging where this show could go. I mean, I didn't clip this moment, but and I'm paraphrasing, but Diego Luna said, he's talking about everything that they're putting together and building for this show. He says, we're building a revolution, which, in the context of Star Wars, got me all excited feeling for the show, because it's like, yes, this is exactly what we want to see, is the build up to, all the ancillary stuff that had to happen, as well as the whole Luke Skywalker story up to Death Star 1. So
that was a lot of the intrigue in Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Is we got to see a lot of the formation.
Exactly.
Of the Rebel Alliance, where in this we may see a buildup of a certain portion of the rebellion. The Rebel Alliance, okay, that was big, but we didn't see the buildup of rebellion.
Right.
So this is going to be, presumably, by what he's saying there, this is going to be from the ground up.
Yeah.
From the point of deciding, like, look, we can't take this anymore. So yeah,
exactly. Yes, this is people getting to the end of the rope and deciding, okay, I've had it.
Yeah.
Now,
Rebels saw us bringing all these rebellions that we're presumably going to see start to build here,
right,
into one cohesive unit.
Yep.
So this is going to be an example of what it was like building one from scratch.
I like that.
So, and I gotta say, you're bringing the guy from the Bourne series,
yeah,
for a spy thriller in the Star Wars universe. I dig it.
Yes, me too.
You know, Cassian's gonna go down as, you know, the Star Wars Jason Bourne or James Bond.
Right.
I dig it.
I dig it too. Okay, so this this was one of the bigger announcements that we had. So here we go.
Last August at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, we announced the return of Ewan McGregor in the iconic role of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for a special event series on Disney+. Obi-Wan Kenobi begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice, Anakin Skywalker turned evil Sith Lord, Darth Vader. Our fans will be thrilled that Hayden Christensen will be returning in the role of Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century. The series is directed by Deborah Chow, coming off the great work she did with us as a director on season 1 of The Mandalorian. Production will begin in March of next year.
So, Ewan McGregor, check. Huh?
I said, well, now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ewan McGregor, check. We're going to have Darth Vader, check. And it's going to be Hayden, check. Deborah Chow, check. Oh my God. Dude. This thing is going to be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. I'm going to mark that on my calendar right now.
Right?
I mean, yeah, this is huge. This is huge. And what do you make of that rematch of the century?
Oh, I think it doesn't really leave a lot for us to speculate about, to be honest. I think
you think these two are going to cross lightsabers again?
I think they're going to be crossing lightsabers for the first time since Vader had the suit on.
Yeah.
In their timeline anyway. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel good about that.
Oh, wow.
Did you think?
I was prepping myself to fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I went did some research.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's just take a look at this from there's a lot of pushback coming on this whole premise of Obi-Wan and Vader meeting.
Okay.
In this time period.
Just for the record, let me just say this up front. I've been the one saying that Obi-Wan, it would be just fine for him to leave Tatooine for a while and come back. You know, I've been saying that for a while. So,
and while I've pushed back on that a little bit,
I
have said yes, but he can't do it too much.
Right. Yeah.
Because if he does it too much, he puts too much risk on Luke.
I have a feeling that this Obi-Wan Kenobi series here is going to be what actually turns him into a quote unquote hermit on Tatooine. Like, something happens and he barely gets away. And he's like, whoa, I got
to lay low.
Yeah, I got to lay low. I got bigger responsibilities to worry about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would think something's got to happen for Vader not to search for him so hard.
Right.
Because this is where I was putting the pieces together there. I'm thinking of Vader at the end of episode 3.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, he knows Obi-Wan walked away from here.
Yeah.
And who's going to be target number 1 for him? With all his rage and he's going to be seeking revenge on Obi-Wan.
Maybe.
Because in his head, everything that turned upside down right there is because of him.
Yeah, but he's also the one he wasn't able to best.
That's going to bother him too.
So maybe he lacks the confidence that he can best him at this point. So, maybe this is supposed to take place 10 years later. Maybe it takes him 10 years to get the confidence up there.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily get the confidence up.
Yeah.
He's got other things to deal with.
Sure.
But maybe after 10 years, he's got the other Jedi under control. But during his ventures, he's yet to find one.
I think they cross paths. They have to cross paths almost on accident.
I could see that.
That's my guess because, I don't see I don't see Obi-Wan like trying to make his presence known out there in the galaxy.
Yeah.
So why again back on this? Why there's so much resistance to them meeting?
Well, I think it's just it's the nature of Twitter, and in the moment, you think you remember hearing things a certain way, and they actually went a different way. I feel like people are feeling like Vader said, last time we met, I was but the learner, but now I am the master.
Okay.
But he says, when I left you, I was but the learner.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean they didn't meet in between there.
Right.
And this time he's taunting him because he's much older.
Yeah, and I gotta say, okay, because you had a thought of what he means by that, right? You want to lay that out there?
Yeah. So when he left him, the moment he left him was the moment that he knelt before Palpatine and rose as Darth Vader. So they've met since then already, because they met on Mustafar after that.
Right.
He was no longer Obi-Wan's apprentice. I mean, yeah, he says, it's over for you, my master,
Right.
But in his mind, he was no longer Obi-Wan's apprentice before they met on Mustafar.
So that is very viable. I just had another thought that if in this what you call it, rematch of the century,
Yep.
If for some reason Vader has to leave Obi-Wan, okay, and think about this could go deep, right? This could be Palpatine calling Vader away because he knows Obi-Wan has to bring Luke into the fold, that kind of stuff. But if that's when Vader's referencing when I left you, it could still hold true, meaning he's a learner of the dark side, not fully a master of the dark side yet at that point. But when they meet on the Death Star, now he is.
I gotta say, while you were saying that, I was like, where's he going with this? Okay. Now he's a master of the dark side.
And Obi-Wan basically says it. Only a master of evil, Darth.
I think that only a master of evil Darth refers to when he left Obi-Wan the first time.
Okay.
He was about to learn it, but now he's a master. He says, "No, you're the master of something else. You're not a master of what we were teaching you."
Right. So,
and another nice jab right there would have been, don't forget, the council voted for you not to become a master.
Right. Yes. So
yeah, it's an interesting concept.
It is. It is.
Like I said, I still don't want to see Obi-Wan leave too much, because him making his presence known too much endangers Luke.
Sure. And okay, so this is a limited series. We're going to get what, 6 episodes, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 or 8, something like that. So I think in this limited series, we are going to see this quote unquote rematch of the century happen, and that is going to drive Obi-Wan into deep hiding from there on out. Because at this point, Luke is about 10 years old, basically getting into that dangerous period where, from Obi-Wan's perspective, if he were to be picked up by a Darksider, he could easily be turned and it'd be all over, so he'd have to take a lot of care, a lot closer watch from then on out.
Yeah. And he's got to know that he's got to be able to be out there enough to make the connection that Anakin is Darth Vader.
Oh yeah. Well, he knew that.
This machine Darth Vader, right? And he's got to make the connection that he's more machine now than man.
Well, he knows how he left him, right? If he was going to be upright and walking, he would have to be, would he not?
I mean, just 2 legs and an arm.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know. I guess he did see him burst into flames.
Yes.
So, yeah. I guess, yeah, he could just put the pieces together. I mean, he knew the name
right,
Darth Vader before that duel.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess, never mind. He really doesn't need to put those pieces together. Don't have to be Sherlock Holmes for that.
Right.
So, yes, but this is, the Hayden Christensen thing is huge. It's awesome, in my opinion. I can't imagine how he feels. He was excited about putting the suit on the first time.
Yeah.
Prequels. Now he gets to do it and do a little more than yell no.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see that, and it's only right.
Yeah, I agree. The other person that we should not leave out of this equation is James Earl Jones. I'm sure we're going to be hearing his voice in all this too.
Really?
What do you mean, really?
Oh, yeah, I guess, duh.
Yes. Anyway. So, on to the next one. This is going to be real quick. I didn't clip this, but she mentions the Bad Batch is coming out. We all know the Bad Batch is coming out. She really didn't say anything more about that. There is a sizzle reel to check out, so I encourage you all to go do that. It was kind of cool.
It is worth checking out. It shows the time period a little bit.
Right.
We're dealing with, like, Order 66 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, important.
Yes, definitely.
We're going to see how this group handles that.
Which is kind of what we were hoping to see from this group, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that will be a interesting take, and still moving that Clone Wars style of animation onward, which will be nice.
Yes. Yes. Definitely excited to see more of this group, because, wow, that was fun.
Right. So here was a new one. Something new, a little different for Star Wars.
Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated short films celebrating the Star Wars galaxy through the lens of the world's best anime creators. This anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars.
So anime.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm digging this concept.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the reason I dig that concept is I did like the animation style in Resistance.
Okay.
And especially with the Starfighters. So I hope Visions brings us some Starfighter stuff.
Right. I think they will.
Because in that style of animation, Japanese anime.
Yep.
I did dig that whole concept for Resistance. So this is exciting for that perspective. And then the other thing I like about this is going to be several different studios putting this together.
Right.
So we will see different takes along the way and different styles.
Right.
So it's intriguing. I'm excited to learn more about this, because right now they haven't told us anything.
Right.
Literally nothing.
Exactly.
It's they're saying presenting all new creative takes on a galaxy far, far away. So what does that mean? Does it mean creative takes on stuff that we know? Or yeah. It's hard to say. The way it's presented, like all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away. So is this going to be like from a certain point of view kind of thing?
Probably. So she said this is going to be an anthology series. So right. I'm assuming each one of these stories is going to be its own independent story. So I think this could be any number of things. It could be retelling a story that we know already, done in a different style, or it could be an ancillary story, something that happens off camera,
right? Or
something completely brand new, So it could be any of those things.
The way it's presented, I don't know if they mean all new as like this is just new stories,
which it could
or is
be.
it a new creative take, right?
Right. Right. I think it could be a combination of all of it. What I will say is that I think this is going to be another door opening for new people to come into Star Wars, because I've definitely got one big anime fan in this house, and there's lots of them out there. If you're a fan of anime, but maybe not necessarily the wars, this could be your pathway in.
Yeah, and I think this will be definitely way more like anime than Resistance was.
Agreed. I think they were going for some sort of a hybrid thing with Resistance, and didn't quite hit that mark. This looks like it's going to be...
I think there was also an element of positive response to Resistance, which is pushing this.
True.
And I think a lot of that positive response is like me, like, wow, when they were doing the racing or any ship-to-ship battle, this show was hitting it.
Right.
So maybe commit to the style, because like you said, it was hybrid. They kind of abandoned the style when it wasn't action. Okay, yeah, the artwork looked similar, but it wasn't like anime when it wasn't action.
Right.
When they were in high action situations, it looked like anime.
Definitely.
So this could be that commitment all the way to look like anime.
Yeah, let's hope. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. So, I'm excited to check it out. I'm always up for new.
Yep, for sure.
And that's about as new as it could get, right?
Yep.
Star Wars.
Well, the next thing she had to talk about was a name that's been around a while. So here we go.
Lando Calrissian is the galaxy's smoothest, most notorious scoundrel, and he'll return in a brand new event series for Disney+. Justin Simien, creator of the critically acclaimed and hugely popular Dear White People, is developing the story with us now. A massive Star Wars fan himself, Justin has put together a reel to give you a sense of the style, tone, and irresistible swagger of our upcoming series, Lando. Take a look.
So,
Well, I can't complain about more Lando.
exactly. Limited series sounds like it's going to be something like what Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be. So, but should be interesting. And as of this point, the reel she was talking about was not available to the general public. So, I not sure. I mean, which Lando are we talking about?
Well,
or could it be a combination of the two?
that's where I was just going to go.
Yeah, I could see it being that too.
I would totally be up for a little of the old, little of the new.
Right.
We've seen both in recent history.
Yep.
As far as I know, both actors are willing to do more.
Right.
So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of jump around and kind of tell both stories. Or even kind of a story time with Billy D format where he tells stories of his youth acted out by
Right. Donald Glover.
So-
Yeah. That would be awesome, actually. The only other thing I was going to say is that we kind of had that open thread at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, where Jana's like, I don't know who my family is, and he's like, let's find out.
I could almost see him telling that story to her.
Yeah, I
And
could
it's
see
like-
that too.
Let's flash back to his youth.
Right.
I'm totally down for seeing both Landos,
Yep.
both versions of him in this series.
I think it would actually be a really smart way to go about doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down for either or as well.
Sure.
I mean, it's Lando, dude.
Of course.
I mean, yeah.
So, we're going to keep trying to burn through these because we got,
Yeah.
so,
Time's ticking.
the time is ticking. The next one here is something that might take you way back to like 1985-ish, but not really. So,
Lucasfilm Animation will be teaming up with our unparalleled visual effects team ILM to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney+, a droid story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by our most iconic duo, R2-D2 and C-3PO, on a special mission known only to them. What could possibly go wrong?
so this here sounds to me like it's going to be, I was referencing the show Droids from way back, which I don't know if you can find it anywhere, but it's kind of the same concept, I guess, where the droids have their own, and they did this in the Clone Wars a couple times, the droids have their own adventure kind of thing. So, sounds like it'd be interesting, but I got a feeling we're going to see kind of like, being that, who is it? ILM is teaming up with the animation studios. This is going to be like very realistic, I think. So,
Yeah, I mean, my first reaction was like, oh man, are we going to get is this going to be like a Sunny Day in a Void
right.
kind of deal?
Yeah.
And then I think about how that arc played out. It's like, well, I guess that wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, the arc started really like, wow, really?
Yeah, I know.
And then got pretty good. So yeah, this is interesting. And they say introduce us to a new hero. Are we looking at an organic hero or another droid?
And I believe it's going to be another droid.
It would make the most sense because it's a droid story.
Yep.
But they did not specify.
And, the droids, everybody has their own thing that they like about Star Wars, and droids are a big one for a lot of people. So I think this is going to be another entry point for a lot of people to get into Star Wars. So, pretty cool.
It's definitely going to be a kid favorite, right?
I would think so. I would definitely think so.
Kids definitely latch onto that whimsical nature of the droids, right?
Right. Okay, so in my haste here, I skipped over one. So here's the one I skipped.
Leslie Headland, Emmy-nominated creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll, is a boldly innovative filmmaker bringing her new Star Wars series to Disney+. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take us into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era.
All right, this is a series we've talked about.
Right.
We've talked about Leslie Headland and just speculated on what she could be doing. Originally, we thought, oh wow, it makes sense. Female-centric series is the way they brought that up.
Right.
And we immediately went, oh wow, she's doing the Ahsoka.
Yeah, that was the thought.
And nope. But this is just as intriguing.
Yeah.
A title like The Acolyte, Shadowy Secrets, Dark Side Powers. You got me.
Right.
I'm paying attention.
What you call it, a suspense thriller or something like that, and this is definitely gonna be kind of like like it sounds like it's gonna be darker. So
yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, again, this is I don't know, maybe I'm looking at this weird, but again, this is another door opening for a certain type of fan to make their way into Star Wars. So, someone who likes that suspense thriller, whatever type show, little darkness to it, especially involving.
And not only that, but it intrigues me because the time period in which this is going to take place.
Right.
So it says the final days of the High Republic era.
Right.
Well.
Yep. I know where you're going.
The High Republic era is an era we haven't even entered yet.
Right.
I mean.
Or backed into yet.
Yeah. Next month is when we start to take our adventure into the High Republic. So they are obviously confident about this series.
Yes.
And this High Republic era was announced as a series of novels and comic books. It was all going to be literature.
Right.
But now they're like, we're going to make a series too. And it's like, well, what are you doing here that you're like, all right, let's put more money into this.
So something I was kind of, I thought you were going to go down this road because they say the final days of the High Republic era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the final days of the High Republic era should be backing up to what? I'd say close to episode 1, right? It's a speculation, maybe. So I wonder if maybe we get to see little Plagueis in this or not. If it's the final days of the High Republic era. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. Could be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, we've never seen this distinction before. So
I know. Where's the line drawn? We really don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, we've only ever seen the distinction of, it's the last remnants of the Old Republic. Well, the Old Republic was literally the day before the Empire started.
Yeah, exactly.
And about, what, 10,000 years?
Right.
So we don't know this distinction, High Republic. We don't have this outline yet.
Right.
And know where this is going to start and end. So they're obviously making a distinction, like this is like when it was at its best. It's the same Republic from start to finish, but this is the high point.
Right.
That seems to be the outline that they're making.
That makes sense.
So where the start and finish of that is, it's anyone's guess.
Right.
I mean, this could only take place for 10 years for all we know. This was the best decade.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been around for like 10,000 years, but these 10, these were it, man.
Man, that was the best 3 months we ever had.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's anyone's guess. But with a name like The Acolyte,
right.
Mystery thriller, sold.
Yep. That one I can't wait for. That's for sure.
I mean, I will say this. I hear that name, The Acolyte, Shadowy Secrets, Emerging Dark Side. All I can think of is that Asajj Ventress story we got.
Yep.
What was that called? Why is that slipping me?
I'm not sure. It's slipping me too.
That's not good. I was hoping you were going to back me up here.
I'm sorry. You're talking about the one with Voss, right?
Dark Disciple.
Dark Disciple, that one.
That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this title. And if it's anything like, because, I mean, I would put that in the same kind of category, right? Kind of mystery thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's anything like that, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, we are for sure, I think.
Obviously, it's going to be different. It's a different era. It's Darksiders more on the down low. So it's going to be different, but I just, with that being my first thought, it's like, it's obviously, I'm seeing some similarities here for some reason in these, 3 sentences.
Right.
I feel like this one's going to be a treat.
Yep. I think so too. Okay. Moving on.
Move along.
I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to say about this, but we're going to play it real quick.
Our Star Wars theatrical slate is pushing forward into a new future era. As we announced recently, we're currently developing a brand new Star Wars feature with acclaimed filmmaker Academy Award winner Taika Waititi. Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. He's currently hard at work writing this next adventure.
So we knew that 2 months ago. Thanks for the update, Kathy. Okay.
Right.
Moving on.
But one thing I will build on with that
What's that?
is we saw Taika in the Mandalorian, was it gallery, right?
Yep.
Disney gallery.
Yep.
We got to see a little bit of how he is, how he works.
Right.
This is really something we have no idea where he's going, but we want to follow it because he's an intriguing guy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we have no idea where he will take us.
No.
And I think that's part of the allure.
Sure.
Because that guy's so nuts, we don't know where he's going to go.
I was going to say, she even does mention his sense of humor.
Yeah.
And, from the little that I have seen beyond the Mandalorian, it looks like his sense of humor is kind of like a dark, hip, kind of.
Oh, we're following Hondo Onaka on this one.
What?
He's talked us into doing something. I'm saying it's like we're following Hondo Ohnaka.
Oh, I got you.
Talked us into doing something. We have no idea what it's going to be, but we know it's going to be nuts.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, but we're gonna go anyway. We're gonna follow because
I had to fit my Hondo thing in.
every time we've done it so far, it's been all right. So yeah, yeah. Okay. Final story.
Second kaboom.
And to close today, I couldn't be more excited that our next Star Wars feature film will be directed by Patty Jenkins. Patty, director of the Wonder Woman franchise, will bring her inspired vision to Rogue Squadron. This story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing high-speed thrill ride. The legend of Rogue Squadron has been long beloved by Star Wars fans and will move us into a future era of the galaxy. Rogue Squadron will be released in theaters Christmas of 2023.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this was really a mixed bag for me
Yeah.
because she's like, Patty Jenkins. I'm like, all right, she's coming to Star Wars. Rogue Squadron. I'm like, whoa,
Yes.
new generation. What are you doing?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm kind of with you there. I mean, for all of us who have read the books and things, yeah. Kind of like wondering what? So I'm
Yeah.
assuming this is kind of like way post Return of the Jedi era, right? So could be
that we
pre-episode.
don't know.
Right. Could be pre-episode 7. We don't know. Could be post-episode 9. We don't know. But new generation. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's where I kind of got like, what? The new generation. I mean, Rogue Squadron was a rebel fighter squadron.
Right.
We've seen no references whatsoever of Rogue Squadron being carried over into the New Republic era, anything like that.
Right.
So I'm very curious on how a new generation could be Rogue Squadron. I mean, the whole name implies like,
Yeah.
under the radar, like, so you think rebel, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, if you're the New Republic and you're trying to establish a peaceful order, you really don't want something named Rogue being kind of your
Yeah. A group
your
of
elite squadron. It just seems wrong.
a group of pilots
Rogue,
who are
if
not
they're
going to
going rogue, that's a problem for you.
Right, they're not following the rules. So
Yeah.
What I will say is if there's going to be a Rogue Squadron, a new generation, I sure hope that they use Dennis Lawson to come back as Wedge and be like their I don't know, the guy that they have to answer to kind of thing. I don't want to say instructor because if they're going to be Rogue Squadron, they got to be good already, So,
Yeah, but I mean, that's another point in which she lost me. Because Rogue Squadron was like, they're good.
Yeah.
But then you hear as they earn their wings, like, what is Rogue Squadron now the training squadron? Like, as they earn their wings, you got to earn your wings before you can be in the, in the fighter squadron. So,
right.
A pilot doesn't fly without their wings.
True.
So I'm open-minded. See what they got.
Yep.
I do trust Patty Jenkins to deliver us some kick-assery.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, I've seen her action sequences. They're unbelievable.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm open-minded. There are things in here that, as a fan of Rogue Squadron, the Rogue Squadron,
Right.
there are some things in here that are concerning. You know, when you say, oh, we're going to do Rogue Squadron, and then we say new generation, you know, earning their wings. It's like, I thought you said you were doing Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Like, Rogue Squadron to this point has been very specific.
Agreed. You know, when you say Rogue Squadron, the first thing that comes to any Star Wars fan's mind is Wedge and Company, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a hurdle she's going to have to get past for most fans, I think. So,
yeah, Rogue Squadron wasn't Rogue Squadron until, you know, later.
right.
So, yeah. Curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We'll see.
But I love Starfighters.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a movie centered on Starfighters. So,
yes. And of note,
I'm going.
I think this is going to be the next one that we see. So,
Yeah. Next feature film,
Yep.
2023. I'd say this is it. This is next.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Exciting, nerve-wracking, a little bit of both. Yeah.
Right?
I'll be there.
Yep. Me too.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so now that our rapid fire hour is done, it's time to talk to Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, right?
It is. Yeah.
Fly through this.
Yeah, we're going to blow through the stories. Yeah.
1 hour later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It can't happen. Yeah.
There was too much there. There really was.
There was a lot there.
I mean, I guess I got to take a second before we move on.
Yeah.
There was something that wasn't there.
Oh, you're right. What was that, Joe?
What is with this Rian Johnson trilogy?
What Rian Johnson trilogy?
Right. I mean, it was announced, right?
Yes.
And then with every single announcement of future content since then, it has been off the list.
Right.
But yet this one included the Taika Waititi movie without a title.
Right.
It's just he's working on this.
Yep.
So this is, I guess, would be considered concerning for the Rian Johnson trilogy, right?
Yeah, I guess that's a way to put it. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's in the in the lineup anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely not in the cards for right now.
Right.
And this could be because of the feature film slowdown.
Is there a slowdown though? I mean, this is
Well, that's what I brought up last week, and you assured me it was. They weren't talking about Disney Plus.
Oh, you're talking about, okay, gotcha. Yeah, with everything going to streaming kind of thing.
Yeah. You said it was there's a separation there. You convinced me.
Well,
like it was a feature film slowdown.
yeah. Well, okay. So it's funny. That's the other thing that was funny about this is for the company who released its first feature on a streaming service, they announced they will be releasing a bunch of their movies in theaters still. Unlike the WB side of things where they will be doing them both in theaters and streaming. So,
well, I think it's safe to say that they're not ready to abandon theaters yet.
right.
The Warner Brothers thing is they're looking at the pandemic.
Yep.
and they're adjusting accordingly. They're just saying, okay, for next year, this is how we're doing it. We don't want to play any guessing games.
Right.
So maybe it hasn't moved away from theaters as much as we thought. We'll see.
We'll see.
It's. I mean, 2023. We talked about being the first film. So
yeah, exactly. So
and it's Star Wars. They say a lot of things early.
True.
I mean, we all saw Rogue One, right? We saw trailers that. Yeah, none of that was in the movie.
Right. Exactly. That is a true statement. The other thing I did want to make mention real quick, and this ties into Mandalorian a little. The other thing that's had a lot of buzz lately is a Boba Fett series, which was not announced either. So, who knows if that's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, they got to do something.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe it's the Taika Waititi movie.
It could be. Or
So, did they announce it? Or didn't they?
Maybe he's we kind of touched on it earlier, right? Maybe he's the wheelman for the Rangers.
Yeah, but people are only going to put up with that for so long. We mentioned Pandora's box all the time, and this was Pandora's box. You brought Boba Fett back.
Yeah.
I don't think fans are going to settle again for Boba Fett just kind of being a background character.
Yeah, but man, you can't overuse them either.
I agree, but if you brought him back, you got to do it this time. Got to go all in.
Well, we'll see.
Because then in the future, he's not going to be good marketing material anymore. Fans are just going to call your bluff.
Right. Gotcha.
You got to go all in on at least one hand, you know?
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, The Mandalorian.
Yes, this episode.
We should probably do that.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun.
It was fun. I kind of like, the callbacks they're doing, to prior episodes.
Yeah, there was a lot of that this episode.
Yeah, in different ways. Yes.
So I got to say.
Yeah.
Bill Burr.
Yep.
He stood out this episode way more so than he did the first time around. Now, granted, smaller cast this time.
Sure.
But this time, he's up against Boba Fett, Cara Dune, and Fennec Shand.
Right.
And yet was still able to stand out as, one of your main side characters.
Yeah. Now, most of the focus was on he and Mando.
Agreed. But he had a lot of screen time in the last episode.
True.
And just didn't stand out amongst that cast. So I think that there was just too much comedy in that last one.
Yeah.
That the comedian didn't stick out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I got you.
His sarcasm just got drowned out by all the other sarcasm.
Right.
In his last episode. Because every character that they brought in on that crew was sarcastic about everything.
Right. And in this episode, everyone around him's kind of stoic,
Mm-hmm.
of little words, serious about getting the job done. Yeah. He's the one who's got the most to say, that's for sure.
But really shined because he had, what was the runtime on this episode? Like 38 minutes or something like that? Wasn't super long.
Yeah, something like that.
But let's say if it's 38 minutes, he was a smartass for 30 minutes.
Right.
And then for 8 minutes, you're like, wow, I really feel for this character.
Yeah, true.
Like, wow, like he just got deep for a second. Like,
yep.
So it was, I really enjoyed his character in this episode. It was a character that, if you would have asked me about it last season, it was a character that was cool but forgettable.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And yeah.
This time, this was a character I want to see return.
Right. Yep. What you see of him in this episode makes you think we might see him again.
Yeah, I mean, he had story. There was, you almost, not to get too philosophical and deep, but that sarcasm was almost defense mechanism kind of level.
Absolutely.
We all got to sleep at night, right?
Yep.
So, but just a great performance on his part, and really a good job in making us care about a character that we saw as forgettable.
Right.
And making us want to see him again. And then outside of the episode, good job on Bill Burr's part, acting like he wasn't going to be in the show again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever come back. You're in the season, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, he interacted well with all the other characters. Comedic relief. Yet the guy that you felt for at the end.
Yes, exactly.
So, just a fantastic episode for him.
For sure.
The other thing, last week we talked a lot about my feelings about Boba Fett in the series.
Yep.
This week, Boba Fett was in it, and I was totally cool with it. Like,
cool.
Totally cool with it. Like, didn't bother me one bit.
Well, good.
I didn't realize they could have that Boba Fett presence. Like, wow, that's Boba Fett.
Right.
But yet he's background.
Well, in a way, that's kind of how he was in episode 5.
I get that, but I mean, I talked about, like, you brought that out, right? This is a character that's got a outside of Star Wars canon prestige.
Right.
So that prestige is going to follow, whether they want it to or not.
True.
So when he was on screen, it carried a lot of weight, but it was inserted just, tactically enough that it didn't overtake the episode and overtake the focus. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Still kind of managed to become the focal point a little bit because that paint job.
Oh yeah. That's something that I noticed right away. It's like, wow. Got the armor freshened up there. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, my first reaction was like the first shot you see of that when they walk up and he's there right before Bill Burr's like, oh, I thought you were the other guy.
Right.
It looked fake, man. Like it looked like plastic Boba Fett armor.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that looks so bad. And then you see it in other lighting. It's like, oh, okay, it looks good.
Yeah.
Other angles, you see the dent, all that stuff still there. Didn't look like plastic in other shots. That first shot, though, I was like, wow, that looks like plastic Boba Fett armor.
Yeah. I think it's just a fresh paint job, but yeah.
Agreed. Cool. It's just a fresh paint job, but it was a shock to the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's brighter than we've ever seen it.
Right. So something about this episode I dug was, again, we had a video game moment, right? This whole bit with the Mandalorian fighting off these warriors coming to take over the Juggernaut transport. I like it when they do these sequences because, it's certainly a callback to things like, video games where you're trying to fight off the wave after wave of enemies attacking,
Mm-hmm.
If you can't tell, I'm an old school type gamer, where that kind of thing is
Well,
all the rage, the norm.
well, I can say something about those sequences that would cater to that then.
Mm-hmm.
So Mando definitely had a Halo ODST moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's used to having this Beskar.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I think
Now I know what
you
you're
play
talking
Halo
about.
3 and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
and you're fighting like hunters, right?
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, and then you get into ODST and you're like, gonna fight it the same way you just did in Halo 3.
Right.
And you realize you can't jump as high.
Yep.
Your armor's nowhere near as good. Your health pool sucks.
Yep.
And that hunter smacks you and you're like, oh crap. So he had that moment. He was like, oh crap, I do not have my armor.
Exactly.
That hurt.
That is an excellent way of putting that. I like that.
You went down the video game path, so I just had to.
No, hey. No, it's a good analogy because it was clear, he started to fight in his usual way and that was not working. So he had to adjust.
The reckless way that we've talked about repeatedly.
Right.
It's like, man, this guy gets shot a lot.
A lot, yes. And he just doesn't worry about it.
Then he got hit with a stick. He's like, oh crap, I don't have my armor.
Exactly.
So what did you think of that whole thing with the armor?
I
mean, he definitely seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah. For sure.
Bending the rules for sure, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think seeing Bo-Katan and now Boba Fett and he's getting a taste of like what others who wear the armor actually, how they feel about things like removing the helmet and all. And he's taking more risk, quote unquote, with that. And maybe he's realizing it's not going to be such a big deal,
Yeah, but at the same time, he's realizing he could get his ass kicked.
Well, okay, yeah, as far as the armor goes, but I mean, I'm talking about the removal of the helmet thing now, because now Mayfeld's seen him, but he says, this thing they have in confidence going on, I never saw your face,
Yeah, and that respect between those two characters.
Yeah.
That built throughout this episode. Pretty phenomenal.
It is. I like that. As you mentioned how Mayfeld is like, you see the tension building in him as he's having this conversation with this Imperial officer. Well, Mandalorian's getting to watch all that happen along with us. So he's seeing all that, and he can see the, I don't want to call it regret, but the disdain he has for what he once was,
Right. I did kind of notice in there, it's almost like he looked at Mando And Mando gave him like a don't do it.
Right. Right.
Don't shoot this dude right now. Like, I see you're about to shoot this dude right now.
Yeah.
And then he shoots that dude.
Right.
And he's like, dude. Well, I guess we're shooting our way out.
That's right.
But that moment, that, like, did what I had to do.
Exactly. And
I didn't see your face.
Just prior to that, yeah, that was beautiful too. I didn't see your face. And it's kind of like they both knew in that moment, look, I'm not lying. And the other one's like, I know you're not lying. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. But just prior to that, another callback to Operation Cinder.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's kind of like more of a deep cut there. If not versed in, like, what is it? That's mainly in I was just talking games.
Battlefront.
There you go. Yes, Battlefront. So and again, you just see the cavalier nature of which the officer is, about how many lives were lost and stuff. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, and when I heard that, I was like, wow, they really are committing to this canon, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The games, the books, the comics.
Right.
So they are really committing to keeping it all cohesive. I wonder how long they can keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, it can make, when you do that sort of thing, it can make for a pretty convoluted, but very busy universe, especially when you tell a story and you have all these elements of what came before, and you got to add one little thing. You tell another story, and you have all those elements, and you got to add one more little thing, By the time you get a few years into it,
you end up with the DC multiverse.
There you go. Yep.
But yeah, I like that this contingency plan from the Galactic Empire has been weaved into this show.
Right.
You're dealing with remnants of that faction, and they're talking about that plan.
Yep.
Which is like, oh, we're losing? Burn it down.
Yep.
And you're seeing the effect that had on people who served on that side.
Right. Which you see a lot from, again, I don't want to relate it to life or anything, but you can see how this could happen. This, where people who think they are fighting for a cause, and those in charge, decide, okay, it's clear we can't win. Yeah, burn it all down. And, the people on the ground are like, whoa, we didn't sign up for this, that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
So, there was another callback, Joe. When Mando and Mayfeld finally get to the roof and get picked up by Boba Fett, 2 TIE fighters give chase.
Ooh, this is by far my favorite.
Yes.
Favorite callback of the episode.
So I'd like you to take it from there then.
And I gotta say, for the guy who didn't really want Boba Fett to show up,
right?
I was way too geeked about this. Well, what we're talking about is the use of seismic charges.
Yes.
And the Slave One.
That was awesome.
That's one way of putting it.
Yes.
I probably use way more expletives when I saw it, because one, it was amazing too because I saw it coming.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is gonna happen," and then Slave One starts climbing. It's like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely about to happen." Then it loads up. I was like, "Oh yeah, here it comes."
Yep.
I've never been more excited about a thing that I saw coming.
Right. So I'm watching this with my family, and as they're climbing, right, you see Boba Fett see the TIE fighters on the scanner on his instrument panel, and I saw it coming too. And as soon as I saw it, you see that glowing football looking thing, I was like, oh, yeah. I started making the noise or the lack of noise and then the noise thing, and they're looking at me funny. And I was like, oh, and then I always get the question, how'd you know? I was like, episode 2, come on. And they're like, yeah, okay, I forgot about episode 2, but so, yes, that was a good one. Nice call back there.
Yeah, it was great to see. Like I said, it makes me realize how wrong I really was about how this could be done.
Oh.
I mean, I still question the venue a little bit, but their execution has been spectacular.
Yes.
They have not let Boba Fett take over.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so easy to do. Like I said, given the legend of this character.
Right.
It would be so easy to just let him take over and would be the easy way out.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, but they're doing something with the character that, look, right now he's indebted to Mando. So he's kind of like taking a backseat to him.
Right.
And in doing so, it shows us, the audience, how much honor there is for a man of his profession, I guess. So it makes us respect him for that. So, even though he is taking a backseat to Mando, it's not like we're saying he should be doing more, because it's clear why,
Yeah. And if I'm correct, didn't his armor once have the insignia of the Empire?
I don't know. I have to look back on that.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a Empire insignia on there at one point.
Could be.
But for now, he's like, I have no allegiance.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he definitely did a lot of work for the Empire.
Well, yeah. I mean, in his line of work is always kind of like, who's paying, right? It's almost like what Mayfeld was saying. These people don't care who's ruling over them, just that someone is.
Yeah, they're all intruders, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I think this, I think it's pretty clear. All of this is leading up to giant finale next week. And I got a feeling it's going to be a blowout.
Oh. Yeah. Next week's going to be something.
Yeah. We've made it all this far, and we still haven't seen Giancarlo Esposito try to break Darksaber blades yet. So I think
next week's going to be pretty.
Yeah.
One thing I got to make mention of.
Yeah.
What did you think of Mando, given Gideon His exact speech.
Oh, that was
Right back
nice.
to him.
I liked it. Whether or not it was smart, I don't know, but it felt good hearing it. I mean,
Well, it definitely seemed concerning to Gideon.
yes. Well, I think at that point, you know, I don't know if, you know, I mean, he went to go get the location of Gideon's ship, right? That's what he was getting from that terminal?
Yep.
Okay. So he's got that. I don't know that Gideon, I mean, he can just send out like kind of like a broad message, like a broadcast to Gideon, could he not? In hologram form? I would think. I don't know. Or does he need to know where the ship is in order to send him the message? And if you do that, aren't you tipping him off? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But maybe Gideon is a little concerned that, you know, he knows where I am, and he's coming.
Yeah, I would think there's at least a little concern. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd probably just run.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know. I got a feeling Gideon might want to squash this, you know. It's time to end this. No more of this playing around.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a good move on Mando's part, right?
Yeah.
Let's make him come to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait till next week. It's going to be a blow up, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of lead up.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, if you have anything to add to the conversation, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, @thewarsandmore on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we've about covered it.
All right. We will talk next week.